Hey team, this video is dedicated to all of you that are out there trying to break the 1 hour 35 minute half marathon barrier. I know a lot of you may be very close. Maybe you're at like 138, maybe you're at 152 and you have sub 135 or trying to run 1 hour 34 minutes 59 seconds in your long-term or short-term goals. And so I always want to remind you that patience is absolutely vital if you want to succeed in running a time this fast. Obviously, the faster we run in the half marathon distance, the more specific your training needs to be. A sub 135 half marathon is 7:15 per mile for 13.1 miles, or 4:30 per kilometer for 21.1 kilometers. So again, it's improving the body's ability to clear lactic acid more economically, more efficiently is absolutely vital. And so you have to start thinking about, what do the top middle distance to half, especially long distance runners, what are they doing in training that is making them look so efficient when they race? How do they start and finish their race at faster than goal race pace and look as if they didn't even start the race after they're done? The key thing is they're spending a higher percentage of their weekly volume training at or close to, or below their anaerobic threshold. That's running around 85 to 90% of max heart rate. So if in the past you've been training at too low of if you've been spending too much of your time training at aerobic efforts, that could be one of the reasons why you haven't broken an hour and 35 minutes yet. Okay, so if my top recommendations, one, as I talk about in other videos, start varying up the paces of your long runs. Don't get in the habit of running slow and easy every weekend. Always alternate your long runs. Like this weekend, if the weekend's coming up, this weekend you run very easy, aerobic, build your fat burning ability, build that endurance. And then next weekend, the next Sunday coming up, you want to spend a few miles or a few kilometers running at VO2 max effort, run a few seconds. Preferably, it's probably going to be a few seconds if you're especially in the early buildup of your buildup for the breaking this hour and 35 minute half marathon. Spend some time training at anaerobic threshold during that long run. Spend some time running at tempo effort, or running around zone 2 effort, and then run several miles running very relaxed, very easy, but vary up the paces. Okay, this is one, going to improve your body's ability to clear lactic acid more effectively. Spending time training even at VO2 max effort during your long runs, whether that's several seconds, maybe, or running, if you find an object, maybe some telephone poles, sprint all out for maybe 50 to 100 meters, and then jog for 100 meters, and then do that. Maybe spend a little bit of time training at fartlek efforts during your long runs. And don't, just like I mentioned, don't get in the habit of running slow and easy every weekend. If you're trying to run under an hour and 35 minutes, you're going to have to spend a longer period of time not only running at faster paces, but you also have to make sure that you pay attention to your recovery and jogging during your easy days. Okay, preferably give yourself 48 hours of recovery between each one of your track workouts, your tempo runs, and these faster, very paced long runs. The hardest workout I did that helped me get to 219 for the marathon and 107.06 for the half was faster, very paced long runs. It was the most difficult workout that I did. It wasn't track workouts, hill repetitions. It was the very paced long run. Because again, you're spending a long period of time on your feet, but running at very hard efforts, very relaxed efforts, extremely fast efforts as well. The types of intensities, the types of workouts I want you thinking about if you're trying to run 134.59, and what I did over the years, the types of workouts I did was 1,600 meter repetitions on the track. Okay, at the beginning of your buildup, that might mean starting off at around running your repetitions at 7:06 with a 3-minute rest, and then working your way down to where you're doing those at around 6 minutes and 10 seconds per rep, but only 60 seconds of recovery. Okay, if you're doing 1,200 meter repetitions, start off doing maybe if you're early on, it might be 5 1,200 meter repetitions. If you're later on in your buildup, I would focus on doing those maybe around 10 reps, but start off running at 5 minutes and 17 seconds per rep with 3 minutes of recovery, and then working your way down to around 435 to 437 per rep, but with like 45 seconds to 60 seconds recovery. Okay, so it's important to do longer repetitions. Okay, if you're doing repeat 2 miles on the track, okay, again, 7:15 mile pace, that might mean starting off running around 7:30 or around 15 minutes per 2 mile rep, giving yourself around 6 to 7 minutes of recovery, and then working your way down to running those at around 13:40 to 13:45, but giving yourself only between 3 and 4 minutes of recovery in between each one of those reps. Because again, we want to make sure we get 7:15 mile pace to feel easier. We want to make sure we get 4:30 kilometer pace to feel easier. Okay, so if you're doing repeat Ks on the track, if you're training for a half marathon, at least the things I was always doing was working my way. I would start the season off doing around 5 1K repetitions on the track, and then working my way up to around 10 to 12 1K reps on the track. If you're trying to break an hour and 35 minutes, start off training around threshold effort, running around 4:24, 4 minutes and 24 seconds per kilometer, with around 2 to 3 minutes of recovery in between each one of your reps. And then as the season gets, your build up, if you're training for a half or in this case, trying to break an hour and 35 minutes for the half marathon, 16 weeks is optimal, but work your way, you have a much better chance of succeeding if you work toward a 20 to 24 week build up. Okay. But again, you want to start off first at threshold effort, which is around 4 minutes and 24 seconds per rep for an athlete trying to break an hour and 35 minutes, and then working your way down to around 348 to 352 per rep. Okay. More rest, slower reps at the beginning of your build-up with more rest, and then much faster, more aggressive paces in as you get more anaerobically fit, and much less rest. Okay. Hill repetitions, doing repeat hills between 50 to 200 meter reps, between 50 to 200 meters in length. Doing those repetitions will force you to focus on your form. Any type of speed training will help you to not only improve your form, but it's also going to help recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers. Okay, the more of these we can recruit, the easier half marathon, sub 135 marathon pace is going to feel. That 4:30 kilometer pace or 7:15 mile pace is not going to feel as tough as it's going to feel, obviously, at the very beginning of your build-up. Okay, so I always tell athletes, if you're going to focus on going after a very fast half marathon time, think long-term, be patient with your training. Don't, try to steer away with trying to cram all of your training in a 4 to 8 week build-up. Okay, start thinking a little bit more long-term in your strategy. 16 to 24 weeks, especially 20 to 24 weeks is even better, because it's going to take some time. Okay, it takes between 3 weeks to a month for your body to adapt to the stress you're placing on it. So what you're doing today is going to feel extremely difficult, especially if you're very early in your build-up. But 3 weeks to a month from now, that intensity, if you're doing repeat miles right now, at say 6:45, it's going to be very hard right now. 3 weeks to a month from now, that 6:45 pace is going to feel more almost like you're running at tempo effort rather than running at VO2 max effort. Okay, so be very patient with your build-up. I know you can break an hour and 35 minutes. The patience aspect and is very important in terms of long-term success, because you're going after a very fast competitive time. 1 hour and 34 minutes and 59 seconds, a sub 135 half marathon time is not an easy time to achieve. But I know athletes that are training sufficiently, they're really working on their speed. That pace is not going to feel so much aggressive if you've done proper speed training. Okay, repeat 400. Start off doing maybe eight 400 meter repetitions in the early buildup of your sub 135 half marathon buildup. Start off running it at around 137, and then working your way down to doing maybe 16 400s rather than just 8 400 meter reps. But you're doing those reps at 123 to 125, a minute and 23 seconds to a minute and 25 seconds. Okay, starting off in the early buildup, starting off at 137, You might be giving yourself 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes of recovery. That's a lot of recovery for doing just 400 meter reps. But you're going to need that when you're not very anaerobically fit in the early build-up phase of your training. Okay, but as you get fitter, as your heart doesn't have to work quite as hard as it did when you're first starting off, you're going to be able to run much faster, 123 to 125 per 400 meter rep, but you're doing more repetitions, twice the amount, 8 versus 16, and you're doing those reps at 123 to 125 versus starting off doing them at 137 to 139 range. Okay, so be patient. Your body will adapt. You will get faster. You will be able to get to a point where you're running the half marathon under 1 hour 35 minutes and getting across that finish line with 1 hour 34 minutes and 59 seconds or faster on the clock. Make sure you're paying attention to your pacing in the race. Don't try to win the race in the first half. Okay, let your competition run out way too fast, go into oxygen debt, and pay for it, not you. Okay, and not to disrespect the other runners out there that are being way too aggressive. It's just you want to be a smarter athlete. You want to train smarter rather than harder in training. You want to use leverage. Okay, I already know there are plenty of athletes out there, the majority of which are very strong mentally. They're also extremely hard workers. But the hardest working people don't always get the best results too. But I'm just saying that there is training smart, and there's working hard, and there's working smart. Okay, so I want you to get to the finish line under 1 hour and 35 minutes. So start thinking about these types of strategies in your training. Longer long runs, going further than race distance, running those long runs around 16 to 17 miles if you're training for a half marathon. Going further than your goal race distance is going to be not only improve your body's ability to burn fat more effectively, but also it's going to help you psychologically. So I want you thinking about that as well. But also running those long runs faster every other weekend, spending some time running at VO2 max effort, anaerobic threshold effort, tempo effort, very relaxed. You're varying up the paces. You're getting beyond just running slow and easy every single weekend like the majority of athletes. Okay, pay attention to your recovery. Make sure you're jogging on easy days. Okay, make sure you're doing that because you want to make sure you can continue to really push the body hard, stress the energy systems of the body effectively over a long enough period of time. But the only way to do that is to make sure that you're recovering from what you're doing. So you have to make sure you're backing off on those easy days, slow down. Okay, allow your time and allow some chill time to relax. Okay, because when it comes to the hard days, that's going to test you both mentally as well as physically. Hope this video is helpful for you in terms of how to get under that 1 hour 35 minute half marathon barrier. Leave a comment below if you have any other questions or concerns. Check out the resources below these videos as well as on RunDreamAchieve.com. They're definitely there to help you speed up your recovery, speed up your progression in this sport. And I wish you guys and gals all the very best in your training and racing. Like this video. I really appreciate your support in watching these videos as well. And hit that subscribe button and the bell icon if you're brand new to this channel or you have not yet subscribed to this channel. Hit that so when I make new videos, you'll be notified of it. So I wish you all the best in breaking this hour and 35 minute half marathon barrier. I know you can do it, and I will talk to you all in the next video.